pandemic market to a commercial market. Just to give you some sense of the challenges that we face. This past fall, when we were rolling out the vaccine through the public health emergency authorizations, when it was purchased by the United States government, we were delivering just to 3 warehouses. And the US government then took responsibility for distributing that vaccine into what was probably almost 60,000 different places, pharmacists and doctor offices where people would want to be able to walk in and get the vaccine they want when they want. And our responsibility now, as we transition to a commercial market, is we have to take responsibility for making sure we provide that vaccine and actually get it to all of those places. We're also transitioning from a world where the pandemic, the public health emergency, will be ending. And I think everybody recognizes that during the pandemic, as a part of our commitment to public health, but also as a part of our sense of obligation to the United States government, the vaccine was sold as a substantial discount to the value that it was creating. In fact, if you look at health economic analyses that have come out, including in other countries, the value created in terms of health cost savings for everybody who receives a vaccine is in the several $100s, $300 plus. And now what we're trying to do is come up with a responsible price that still makes sure everybody who wants it can get access to it, that does still create value for healthcare systems, but that allows us to step in and take responsibility for all of that complexity of that commercial market going forward, including responsibility for distributing it to all those sites.
And let's look at what the numbers are, because I think that plays a key role in why Senator Sanders sent that letter. In particular, the fact that part of this is taxpayer money that went into the development of the vaccine. So, in the letter, he says that it only cost $2.85 to make the vaccine dose. Meanwhile, the company got $1.7 billion in federal funding and now is sitting on profits of $19 billion. All in the meantime, increasing the price to approximately $130 per dose. So clarify all of this for us. The fact that the company did, in fact, develop the vaccine with the help of the government and now is charging the same taxpayers a higher price as a result.
Right. Well, so let me start with just the government support and partnership, which we are grateful for. We did work with the U.S. government. Many companies did, and unfortunately, only ourselves who were working with the United States government were ultimately successful in bringing a vaccine forward, and at this stage are going to continue to commercialize it. Our interest in making sure that vaccine is still available in all those places. But during the pandemic, we actually were providing the vaccine at a substantial discount. If you just compare us, let's say, to the other mRNA vaccine, we in fact provided discounts during the pandemic that were $2.9 billion off of that price. And that's whether you compare it against the other vaccine or what was being charged internationally. And so in exchange for that $1.7 billion of support for the clinical development that we received, we have already actually provided $2.9 billion worth of discounts back relative to other vaccines that were being purchased at the same time. And so we do think we've paid that back and then some already as a result of the discounts that we offered over the last 2 to 3 years. Now, looking forward, we have to find a price that we think reflects the market for this product and also reflects the value it's going to be creating for healthcare systems. Just as a reference point, the influenza vaccine, the senior dose influenza vaccines are reimbursed by Medicare at about $70 right now. So $70 is a reference point for a seasonal flu vaccine. There was 3 times as much death and hospitalization and costs associated with COVID this past winter as there was with flu. And so as a reference point, we're actually probably in range. In fact, per dollar, per instance of death and hospitalization, actually probably a little bit lower than what's already happening with the seasonal flu vaccines. There are obviously other vaccines that are reimbursed up at $230, the pneumonia vaccine for pneumococcal infections. And so we think we're well within that range. Now, nobody's ever established a market like this before. And so there's a huge amount of work we have to do just to make sure the vaccines are available. Yeah. The last thing I'd point to through the references is that there's a huge amount of cost that was not present for companies, Moderna and others, in the public market that existed 6 months.